All right, ready?
Yep. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the one, the only, the WyOriginal Podcast,
the voice of the state.
brought to you by your host, Jared Burton.
Angel Maldonado.
Dominic Syracuse.
We are back on another beautiful Sunday morning. If y'all didn't know, that's what day we record. We get here around 4:30 on Sunday. I'm just lying to you guys. Nah,
I mean, it be feeling like that.
it do feel like it's 4:30.
Shit.
No, we come in around 7:30 Sunday morning. We knock
Actually, a
this
little
out.
earlier than that, 6:45, 7. We set up, and then we start at 9.
Yeah, and then Dom shows up at 8, forgets a chord, goes shoot.
Shit. All right,
Guys, I got everything going.
Actually,
but I gotta run home real quick and
Angel,
grab
do
some
you
stuff I forgot.
have that cord in the studio? Probably do.
Hey,
It's in a box.
hey.
And we just ordered 3 more of those cords just to make sure that
Yeah,
we won't have this
we get-
issue again.
We get that's it. That's the way it goes. That's the behind the scenes.
There you go.
You
Just
know
the
what I'm saying?
growing pains of a podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
The real growing pains.
Now I'm telling you, you know what? So today is a very special episode. I mean, we were brought together because there's some wild stuff happening in the community. We're going to talk about that. A lot of good, little bit of bad, but you know what? We're fired up today.
Yeah,
Some of us a little more than others, right? Got a little rage in our heart right now.
Yo, I was told by a good friend of mine, that's how you conquer, you rage.
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. You
Straight
know,
up.
and I was having this conversation with a friend of mine about, you know, we're gonna get into this. There's a lot of violence going on. Violence is raising in the
Mhm,
community. It's
mhm,
raising amongst the youth specifically. There's a lot of beef. There's a lot of war. And guess what we're gonna do today? We're gonna fix it.
100%.
Okay, we at WyOriginal Podcast are gonna 100% fix all the problems in the world today. No, but the thing is, I was talking about with my friend, and I was like, you know what's a huge problem is that nowadays with the youth, especially with music. Now, this is gonna be the opposite message you normally hear. Like our parents, like, oh, that music, that rap music, that metal music, it's making you violent. Well, actually, there's been a study on like, especially like metal music,
Oh, yeah.
that people, the heavier and more aggressive the music you listen to, the more peaceful and gentle and better your mental health is as a person.
Because it calms the voices.
Because yes,
That's
exactly.
why I like to listen.
That's what I'm
That's it.
saying. And so the thing
to the
is,
music.
the reason is because like we all have feelings of aggression, right? We all have feelings of anger. We all get hot. We all get whatever. And the thing is that when you listen to angry music, right? When you listen to music where people are like, you know, fuck everything, you know, and that's like the message, all of a sudden it's cathartic. You purge it,
Yeah.
and then you're like, man, I feel better. Someone understands me. I
Yeah.
got the rage out. You go to a concert, you do a mosh pit,
Yep.
you scream, you yell,
Yep.
you like jump up and down, you break shit, you purge it. But then the thing is now all the music's about being chill. I just want to chill. I
Which-
just
and they're
want to
all-
vibe.
And they're all lying
I
or
just
drugged
wanna
up. So
yeah, and the thing is, it's like, all right, cool. Like, listen, we all need to chill every once in a while. But what are you doing with those actual emotions, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening to all that in your heart? I used to be in a heavy metal band, man. And what we would do,
wait, what's the name of it again? Because I love it.
well, my band was called The Insulted. That
That's
was the
right.
name. That was the name of the band. I'm always making up band names that I think. Like the other day, a buddy of mine came over our house and he was like, "Man, I'm just busy. He's like, I bought a stump grinder."
Nice.
And I was like, listen, Stump Grinder would either be the perfect name of a heavy metal
That's it.
band or
There
a
it
gay
is.
porn site. Stump
Oh,
Grinder.
You know what's crazy? And it's funny because me and Angel we were just talking about this. I met Angel 10 years ago.
Sorry,
And we
the fact that I just said gay porn site, and you're like, me and Angel
Yeah,
were
no,
just
I was
talking
just
about
gonna
this.
say, hold
Let
on,
me
what the
just-
fuck
I
is we
was just-
talking about? Wait, hold on, wait, let's just get this
No.
clear.
No.
Stump grinder, boom. We were talking about what?
Yard work. We were
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about
look,
yard
check it
work.
out.
Yeah.
Yard
work.
Sure.
This is
sure.
before.
Right.
The
Nothing
episode
about
started.
nothing
Yeah.
about
Yard work.
I don't
Yeah, okay, cool.
yeah.
Dom, I get it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, good names, good shit.
Sure.
But me and Jared were talking about yard aeration and power raking before the snow comes.
Hey,
with fertilizer.
power
Go ahead.
raking, also a great metal name, and
Anyway,
power raking.
yeah, Jared, we were talking about yard work prior to the show.
Prior to the
Facts.
I just wanted to point
Let's
out.
just put this out there.
I just wanted to point out.
Pause.
As you get older, you get excited about yard work.
Yes.
You know, so the fact that his friend was
Really
like,
excited.
going through some shit, bought a stump grinder. Perfect.
Yeah,
I can't think of a better,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So
What were we talking about?
No. We're talking about this.
Oh
music.
yeah, music.
Hold on. No. I
Jesus.
want to.
welcome to the WyOriginal Podcast, everyone.
Everybody's had their coffee, obviously, this morning. Everybody's going. Whatever you had. Anyway, frustration, everything's kicking. Check it. So with the whole music, I feel that because even with just rock, heavy metal, hip hop, R&B, whatever it's gonna be, right? You know, purging it out, right? It's just like going to church, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then it's like when people say they feel the Holy Spirit,
yeah,
and when they're like rejoicing in church and that music,
right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't always necessarily have to be like in a negative way or that music's making you feel this way. Like I've been to church growing up, and then you watch people doing these weird dances saying that they have the Holy Spirit in them.
Right,
And it's like,
right.
what's wrong with that person? Why are they like looking like they're having a seizure?
Yeah,
But it's like real. Like
Exactly.
these people are being affected by the music. So, and this is in the church.
and this is and also, speaking from like a cognitive perspective, I mean, that's what I do. I help people with cognitive behavioral therapy. Like I help people with stress. And we have these natural things built into our body, like natural mechanisms that make no sense to us.
Right.
Like, for instance, when we move around, we feel better.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter if it's exercise. It doesn't matter if it's dance. It doesn't matter if it's head banging. It doesn't matter if it's movement in yard work.
Boom.
See, I hear you.
When you get 3 kids, you
That's
need something to do.
When you move your body, right? And here's an even crazier one. This is crazy for y'all, but this is true. So stress is caused by this thing called cortisol, right? It's the fight or flight mechanism in your body.
That is not my wife's name. I'm gonna call. I'll go home and say cortisol.
That was so good. I'm sorry.
Baby.
That was good. That was tight. That was tight.
Damn.
She will not.
My
think
wife's
so.
name is not cortisol. That's hilarious. But no, what happens is, okay, so you get stressed, right? And what that is cortisol. It's the stress chemical. It's the hormone that's like, I gotta be on alert. I gotta be fun. And it triggers fight or flight, right? It triggers like adrenaline. It triggers like it, because what it is your brain going, there's a problem.
Right.
And I need to solve this problem. But most of the problems for us are intellectual problems,
mental.
right?
Facts.
Yeah, your wife would agree with that too.
Absolutely.
Right.
But what I'm saying is what it is. It's like we live in a world of potential problems.
Okay.
This could go wrong.
Yeah.
Right. This
True.
might happen. And so then what happens is our cortisol, we stress out and our heart beats real fast and our body's pumping. And a natural way to purge it is just to get moving because your body wants to move. So that could be exercise, yard work, dancing, whatever, but head banging, whatever. And then here's the craziest part. When you sweat and when you cry, okay, tears and sweat are the same thing. They just come from different parts of your body. If it comes out of your skin, it's called sweat. If it comes through your tear ducts, it's called crying, right? But the crazy thing is the ingredients of sweat, water, salt, adrenaline, and cortisol. It's your body's natural way of purging that unnecessary stress, right? So my point is that when I was younger, I used to go to heavy metal shows and I would walk in there with all this anger in my heart. We would headbang, we would mosh pit, we would go crazy. We would hear this loud music. We would scream to the top of our lungs and then we'd leave feeling so good.
I love it.
Right? Because we got it all out. Now, a lot of these kids, like everything you listen to is like chill vibe. Oh, this is chill. This is chill. And then when they get upset about something small, they burn down a college campus.
This is true.
They do some metal shit But I'm saying if you get it out with the music first.
So he's saying don't go
you're
burn
okay.
college campuses. He's saying listen to music first.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, don't
listen to music that
case you lost
talks
that,
about
yeah.
burning
But
stuff down,
It's the
and then
type
you
of
won't want to do
music,
it.
You know what I mean? It's the type of music.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
honestly,
exactly.
Even in me coming from Texas, man, you know, there's some kind of country, like a little bit of country, but it wasn't as big till I got here. But even it grew on me. Even country music
Facts,
can
I-
give you
I
like
agree.
a mood. You know,
That's what I'm
I mean?
saying.
You know,
That's what I'm saying. Well, like, and here's the thing too, is that I'm not saying only listen to metal music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying every moment. Life is multifaceted.
Right.
We got a bunch of different moods, a bunch of different spirits. Music helps with
Find
every one of those. But I feel like it's interesting. I've seen this shift in our culture away from heavy and aggressive music.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Not
Like
everything's
I've
nice
seen,
and gentle.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like I've seen a shift in our culture in the last 20 years where, like, if you remember, there was a time Nirvana was like the biggest music.
Yeah.
Green Day, Metallica. They used to have Warped Tour like with loud, aggressive music. There was a time that metal music was like Slipknot, bands like this that was like they were the top bands you'd hear on the radio. That's what everyone was listening to.
Yeah.
Now I joke around. I tell people rock and roll. When I say I was in a rock and roll band, which for any Gen Zers out there is the music your dad likes,
Correct.
right? Because that's the thing.
It's a fact.
Is that we've moved away from having aggression in our music, and now we have aggression in our culture.
Well, I'll counter that. So Travis Scott, I'm from Houston.
Okay,
Travis
yeah,
Scott, biggest artist in Houston right now going. He has his concerts and he's kind of a rock guy, right? So he's like rock, he's like rock meets rap. He throws his concerts, he encourages people to have mosh pits. And then in Houston, they had a big old mosh pit, and the crowds were so overblown that a kid ended up dying because he fell off his dad's. Not judging nobody, but why you bring a kid to a Travis concert? But fell off his dad, and they would literally just stampede and trample this kid for hours, and ambulance can get through. But they shut him down. They shut Travis Scott down for a month.
I actually remember hearing about that, and that stuff's happened throughout history. Like there was like a famous Who concert where people got.
Y'all heard him.
Yeah.
No, I just because
that stuff's happened throughout history, right?
I think we talk about this.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because we talked about how this happens at rock concerts and no one cares, and then as soon as it happened to Travis Scott, everybody's like, "Shut it down!"
Right. Well, the thing is like it's very few and far between. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
What I mean is, yes, that happened, and that's an absolute tragedy. But how many Travis Scott concerts are there? How many of people mosh pit in?
Right.
I mean, we're talking literally millions upon millions upon millions of people. And then, a bad thing happened. That is a terrible tragedy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's no good. But that stuff's happened like tons and tons and tons. But what I'm saying is that for most people, having something to purge that spirit, like Eminem used to say, it was really funny. Eminem used to go like, I don't have a therapist and I've never done anything like so bad that I needed to go to jail because I just talk about it in my music.
Right.
I get it out when I write it down. I get it out when I yell about it. I get it out when I scream about it. So I don't have to do it in real life.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
It's a release. It's a getaway.
Yeah. And then I just think we could use a lot more of that.
I agree with that.
I think we could encourage healthy releases more because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, which we'll talk about. But first, before we get into all that, how about we talk about some good stuff? How about we do what WyOriginal is all about? Let's tell the people some cool stuff going on in the community right now. What's coming up?
Yeah, let's go with some local news. And again, we created this podcast to do that. If you guys have information that we don't know about, or if you have things that you want to get out,
or
shoot it to us.
You have an event, you need some help, letting people know where to go, where to be.
Yep.
We can do it.
Let us know.
We can do it for a small nominal. No, just playing.
Yeah, let us know though. Let us know if you got an event, if you got something going on, if there's something happening in town that you want people to know about. That's why we exist. Hit us up. Shoot us a message in the comments, whatever it may be.
Yep.
Let us know about the great stuff happening in town.
Yep. So coming up, we have April 1st, April 2nd, April 3rd. We have the Stars of Tomorrow's auditions. If you're not familiar with the Stars of Tomorrow's program put on by the Kiwanis Club every year, we have singers, we have actors, we have dancers, we have kids that do karate displays. Whatever kind of talent that your child, or if you're a child, you have. You can go to Stars of Tomorrow. You can put on a presentation. Now, what they do is if you win, so you can win each category. There's an elementary, there's a junior high and a high school, I think, or a senior category. If you win, they donate money or a portion of money to your school for your after school programs. I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but nowadays with the way money is, it's a big deal. So
it's a huge deal. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a great program, and it's a great way, one, if you have a talent, to get it out there to show the world, and also if just to see what cool stuff's out there, see what amazing talent you have in your community.
Yeah, there you go.
And don't say you're bored.
Exactly.
You got something to do.
I got nothing. Exactly.
Pull up, show up.
Started tomorrow's amazing.
And it's a great, it's just a great program, man. There's so many talented kids in this community that do a lot of different things that you wouldn't even know, So, and it's I swear every time I go, this will be my maybe 4th or 5th year going. Every time I go, I feel like the number of acts gets bigger and bigger.
Oh, yeah.
People find out and they're like, oh man, I got this one thing that I could do a Rubik's Cube in a second. Whatever it is, you go do it, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, auditions are 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then the actual show is on April 28th, the weekend of the 28th. So, even if you don't have anybody that has a talent or you think about it has a talent, just go out and watch, support, fill it up,
Facts.
Anyway.
Yep.
Town hall to discuss Cheyenne Laramie County drug issues. So
yes,
this is on April 10th.
This is put on by our good friend of the podcast, Mr. Rich Johnson.
That's right.
Right. I know he's been talking to me about it for a long time. He wants to get a panel together where we're going to discuss not just the drug epidemic that we experience in Wyoming, but also he wants to talk about, what are practical ways we can start figuring this out.
Solutions.
You know what I mean? Yes.
So my thing is, all right, the whole dispensaries, bringing so much money into their states now, regardless if it's legal or not. I know we're having issues now with our new CBD places. Now they got a potential shutdown coming in June.
Really? What were the issues?
Yeah, what was the issues?
Because I guess legislation the governor signed the legislation bill to have all these shops taken down.
So they didn't
really
have issues.
So in a coalition of them coming together, I mean, like, this is my thing, man. Like, we're not even really. It's THC to the legal limit, right?
Right.
That's what said. I'm
sure.
advocating for these stores to stay open or close. I mean, I would like to know how y'all guys feel. Like, you think it's affecting the community? You think it's tearing us up? But at the end of the day, medical purposes have been showing that a lot of people going through certain medical issues, that CBD, these levels of THC that are legal, are actually beneficial to people. Because I mean, like, we can go to the drugstore and pop some perks, and that's cool, right?
I'm just gonna say this.
Right?
I'm
not
right
trying
now.
to get into all
No, I
this
agree with you. No, I agree with you
I guess I'm saying, like, we don't need to shut these places down.
Look. This is because I 100% agree with you in that. I'm gonna say this right now, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear in the comments. I want to hear what's going on. If you know about this, what's the issue with them? What is the issue with them? And here's why I want to find that out, because like you said, the medical side of it, I live with it. My wife has a lot of chronic pain.
Yep.
My wife, sorry for putting stuff on blast, baby, but she just went through her 10th surgery for chronic pain issues, right? And the thing is that, she does what's legal, and they prescribe her Vicodin, which is an opioid. Opioid means it's made from opium, which is heroin.
Correct.
Opium is what is used
to make
heroin. Heroin. Like, it's Vicodin is an opioid, which is made from opium, which is used to make heroin. So the thing is that Vicodin is just a legal version condensed with other stuff of heroin. And they're like, that's what we can give you legally.
Right.
But and look, you don't have to take my word for it on how dangerous that shit is. Like, all you need to do is watch a drug commercial and listen to the thing at the end. You know what I mean? That's all you gotta do. Like, may cause your brain to explode, may cause hypotaxia, may cause your eyes to pop out of your head, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it'll just, like, a million, like, please don't mix this with anything because your colon might explode in your bathtub. Like, that's those are all the same reasons you don't do heroin, because that's what will happen to you.
So,
so anyway, just real quick, it's just that, like, with CBD, with marijuana, with things like that, like the side effects way lower, the detriment it has to your physical health and body way lower. And these are just things. So I'm interested in seeing why specifically they were like, there's a problem with this.
Sometimes I just, we're talking about drug issues and creating this panel. I just don't see, is it just because you don't like the look of the community? Is it too many of them? Or you think it's causing a problem? Because
this can't be about marijuana. This got to be about meth and other things in the community. It can't be about marijuana.
So the drug panels themselves, here's the issues that we're facing in this town and others specifically, is that I know it because I deal with it all of the time in the work I do firsthand, is that you have people who have a drug problem, have a drug issue, and let's say they're on the streets because of it, right? I call it the zombie virus. If you're addicted to something like meth or something like that, I call it a zombie virus. It takes over your brain completely. It's all you can think about. It's all you can do. And most people on it, they lose everything, right? Now, the thing is, they're on the streets. Well, let's say that there's somebody out on the street doing some meth stuff. So you call the cops and you go, hey, cops, there's a methy person doing methy things. And
that's exactly how you say it.
And then
that's how it's gonna go.
And the cops go, all right. Chances are the cops know him by name because they've been called so many times, the same person. The cops take him in, and all they can do is hold them in a cell. Right. They just hold them until they're not messed up anymore, and then they put them back on the streets. Or what they'll do is they'll bring them to the hospital, and the hospital will just put them in the psych ward, and then they go, hey, we're full up with people with other mental health issues, so get them back on the street, and the cycle just continues. So what I think this board's going to be about is talking about, like, what can we actually do as a community? You know what I'm saying? To, like, solve these problems.
And I agree. And because like coming from Beaumont, Texas, like I grew up in the hood where crack cocaine was like a big, huge thing. They smoked it, they sold it. It was a big thing. And then as I got older, I started understanding the laws, that they put in place around these different drugs. For instance, cocaine. If you get caught with cocaine, that's 5 to 10 years. Right. If you get caught with crack cocaine, which is just a cheaper, lower version, it's
literally cocaine mixed with baking soda.
It's just a cheaper version that is prominent in the hoods because they can afford it. That's almost 20 years, Right. But then, right after Bill Clinton gets in office, now there was the opioid epidemic. And they didn't treat that as a cocaine or a heroin issue or a marijuana issue. You know why? Because it was suburban house moms. That was the issues. I remember a story where a school teacher literally drove her minivan into a brick wall to get another prescription of Vicodin because she ran out. That is an addiction, just like 100%. Any other drug. But they treated that so seriously because this was our moms and our grandmothers and people like that, people that hold prominent offices because, now, the drugs in their communities and affects them. It took such a serious note. The government took action. I think we can do the exact same thing.
And it was acquired by legal means.
Right.
And so the thing is, though, is that, one of my greatest teachers I had in high school, he's a brilliant guy. He literally taught us, he's like, look, all laws are ideas that somebody had in the community, and they got enough people to vote on that idea to make it a law.
Yeah.
Right. And so we literally design our society together based on that. And so somebody said down the line, hey, heroin should be illegal. However, if we take the parts of it that do the painkillers, mix it with these other chemicals, put it in a processing plant, make a pill out of it, have the FDA come in, say, yep, all right, these are the limits that it's allowed to do, and then sell it, that's legal. So we can sell heroin just in this way.
Right.
And then not only can we sell it, we can push it out through doctors, and prescription drug companies are second to none with the amount of money that they bring in. It is insane. Most of our medical system is built around big pharma. And so literally what we're talking about, big pharma, we have regulated it, made it legal, made a whole system about it. That's fine. That's the way we do it. Colombia does it. A dude did it in Colombia, but we call him Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
And that shit's illegal. You know what I'm saying? He just did it with, and so my point is we can come together as a society and have an intellectual conversation on what do we need to do to regulate this, to make it safe for the community, to get it in us, and also what can we do to handle the problems that are coming. You know what I mean?
And that's the
all
issue.
sorts of folks.
That's the issue. It's not just go ahead.
No, he hit it right on the point of where I guess this is where we're gonna go. All the legalities, how to not so much control, but put a handle on the situation. Like, okay, these places don't need to be shut down.
Right.
We just need to mandate better rules and regulations for it.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Because we can't just have 18-year-olds going in there, grabbing all this stuff, and then it's this much milligrams. They're not realizing what they're doing with this, and now they're going crazy.
100%. And
so that's why I feel like what you said, it's the legality issues that we have to,
but also education.
Yeah, education and legal, but we have to say, yo, these things aren't bad.
Right.
We don't have a better handle on our situation.
That's exactly it. And listen. This is why you should show up to this drug panel, and I mean it, is that you have to get your voice heard, because that's what a community is. A community is a group of people that come together and figure out what are problems we're all facing, and how do we fix it together. An issues I have with so many people is they do one of two things. They either say, you know what, I'm just gonna ignore it. Like, not my problem. I'm gonna move away from it. Right.
Easy way out.
I'm just gonna not deal with it. Right. Well, here's the thing. Not calling anywhere out. My mother my father just had back surgery. Right. Not calling anyone out. My mom.
He goes, not calling anyone out.
My mom. Not calling. Mom. No. My mom. My mother. They had to go to this big city in the U.S. for this surgery. Right. Yeah. Prominent city in the United States. They had to go there. I'm not going to call it out because I don't need, a bunch of people getting mad at me. But here's the point. Yeah. Here's the point. She goes to this big city, and my innocent ma, she's calling me and she's going. I'm like, hey, ma, how's the city? Are you enjoying the sights? And she's like, there are people smoking crack on every street corner.
Every single corner.
So like my 60-year-old mom is scared to just walk around a neighborhood because everywhere. And she's like, the craziest thing is, she said there's also like armed guards, like at the corners of all these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And she the street corners, and she's going like, did you know that there are people smoking crack just openly everywhere? And the armed guard's like, yeah, welcome to the city, And
First
she was like, she was like, well, is that why you're here? Are you here to go get? He's like, no, I'm here so they don't break into this store right here. Like that's, and it's like, welcome to the big city. But the point is, that's what happens when a community doesn't come together and start having ideas about what do we do to fix this? Because if you just ignore it, all you're doing is allowing the problem to grow, allowing the problem to grow. And then the second mistake people make is they go, oh, well, that's government's job. Government can just handle it, right? Sure. The thing is that all a government's all the governor's job is to hear what the people want and present a bill. And then all these people have to vote on it.
Right.
And then if it doesn't get voted down, he goes, well, then shit, then I guess we can't do it.
And this is the part that kills me, because again, I love that this says not just talk about the issues, address ways to fix it. Because I get it. No one wants to pay more taxes.
Yeah.
But if you have an issue in your community and your tax dollars are getting stripped from you anyway to fix your community, and you vote no, this is the biggest issue, but I don't want my tax dollars to go to that because that just feels like communism. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. Well, and especially what they propose, it's really funny. They propose like just one more penny on beer.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, let's raise our tax. Let's raise our tax 1 penny. Right. And then people are like, no, you know what I mean? But then these are the same people. These are the same people that go.
Facts, though,
these are the same people that go like, our community's going to crap. There's so many homeless folks. There's
but I don't
many.
Show up to
there's
help.
such a drug problem. There's so much this. There's so much that. And it's like, and I get it, because then I was born and raised in this town. I know the arguments.
I get it.
The other argument is that, well, how can we be sure that money
I get
is going to actually go to this and not just go to fill some government employee's pocket, you know. But this is a point, is that the point of these panels are to get your voice heard,
right,
so that we can all come together and come up with a solution that has a little bit of everybody's ideas in it. And that's why your voice needs to be heard. And complaining about stuff on the internet is not getting your voice heard.
Absolutely. Look, all I know is, if you haven't, okay, and this is how I grew up. If your community's in need and you're in that community, like, and I think people misrepresent, oh, I live here, but that's it. No. You have if you live somewhere, the problems, the good, the bad, that is now part of your community, and it is your responsibility to at least help figure out how to deal with it. So if you live in a community that has a drug issue, which I honestly don't think that Cheyenne, Wyoming has that big of a drug issue compared to most cities.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't walk around, and Colorado's right up the road. I don't walk around and I don't see, like, drug paraphernalia all over the roads. I don't see that downtown a lot. Do we have an issue? Yes. I mean, there's not a place in the world that you can go to that is not people.
No, that's the thing. There's drugs. Nowhere on earth that's not going to have an issue with this. You know what I'm saying? But the question is, what can we do about it? So if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, if you're passionate about this, show up. What date is April 10th?
That is April 10th.
April 10th. There's an amazing panel that's going to be there. So show up, get your voice heard about it. What else we got? What else we got going on?
Yeah. And then we have, and I was trying to find I'm not going, I told Don about it, but we have the what is it called? The teachers,
yes. So it's
trying to find it again.
Board Teachers Comedy Tour. Okay. The Board Teachers Comedy Tour. Now, I will say, I know that I don't mind having this stigma on me. Everybody assumes everything that has to do with comedy I'm involved in.
I did. I asked him, I was like,
yeah.
So you know about this? No,
he's like, I don't know. I don't.
He's the president on the board.
Exactly. I am. Yeah. No, the thing is that I'll be honest. I didn't know about a lot of the comedy in town, and I'm glad about that. I know I started a lot of like stand-up comedy shows and stuff like that, and I'm happy to see that there's a bunch of people going, yeah, let's do more comedy shows. I'm 100% happy with that.
Right.
But I didn't know about this one, but it seems pretty cool. So it's a bunch of stand-up comedians who are also teachers who are gonna get up and do some jokes on that. The funny thing is, I don't know if this is the play on words, if they're the Board Teachers Comedy Tour. Are they teachers on a board, or are they bored? Right? Are they BORED?
Right.
And their board is teachers, and so what they've done is just wrote jokes about all their students, and now they're just coming to just talk about their right? Like they're just coming to be like, what drives me nuts as a teacher? Yeah,
they got names of them.
And I'll tell you, I was a teacher for a long time. I mean, I still teach, but I was like a certified teacher, and I taught for California school districts, and there are plenty of funny stories that you can tell as a teacher. So I'm really excited. That's put on by Cheyenne Presents, right?
Cheyenne Presents, like, it's gonna be at the Civic Center, huge event. That is, I think, April 28th. If I'm wrong, let me know I'm wrong, because I can't find the post anymore. But the Board Teachers Tour. I don't know. That actually sounds fun. I might have to.
It might sound
check
cool.
it out.
You know, it's like
Board Teachers.
That's what I'm saying. It's a Board Teachers Tour. Check it out. Why not? Go see how good it is. You know what I'm saying?
And then lastly, on April 26th through the 28th, we got the Cheyenne Gaming Convention. That will be at,
my kids love that.
That will be at Red Lion this year.
That's right. That's the Red Lion. My kids are crazy about that. They love that.
Yeah. So it'll be games, vendors. You got video games, board games, Dungeon Dragon, Warhammer, tons of vendors to shop, much, much, much more. So if that is your thing, which I feel like we have a huge gaming community in Cheyenne that kind of gets overlooked, because every time I turn around, there's a gaming thing that pops up downtown. There's all kind of events. And I'll tell you one thing, I've never seen one of those events like miss. Like they all hit.
Oh, yeah. Well, not like gaming, I mean, it's super fun. It's a super fun pastime. And from what I understand, it's not just a gaming convention like about video games, right, things like everything. That. It's also like board games. So I mean, if you're into that, you'd be amazed at the kind of board games there are. I have played so many fun board games. Like my brother's really into gaming, and he brought this board game. It's called Horrified, and what it is it's all the old school monsters from black and white movies. So it's like Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, the Mummy. and it's a town, and everybody who's playing, it's not like a game where you play each other. You work together to stop these monsters.
Oh, okay.
So like the monsters are terrorizing the town, and you got to work together, and it's really fun. Those kind of games are the kind of games you find at these conventions that you're like that. Man, I never thought about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's neat. That's interesting. That's fun. So does whatever you're into, I'm sure you're gonna find something really cool there, and it's gonna be worth it.
I love it. But yeah, that's our community events that we at least know of. Again, if you have more, we talked about this. We plan to do these podcasts more. If you have events coming up, let us know. We'll talk about it. If you hear something that we didn't mention, let us know. We'll talk about it. We have a lot of community out there. So
I'll use time to plug mine. It's a little early, but on May 8th at the Red Lion, I am. So you've heard me say this a million times. I use acting and improv techniques to teach the basics of positive psychology, mental health techniques, resilience. I'm going to be putting on a free workshop for anyone who works for a nonprofit and first responders. So if you're a nonprofit employee or a first responder in Cheyenne, you are invited for free. We have catering, so there's going to be food. We got a bunch of great places in town that have donated a bunch of stuff. So we're going to have like gift packages for people just to say thank you. And the big thing is I'm going to offer techniques for resilience, techniques that I learned teaching acting in prisons.
I like it.
Techniques that I learned working with nurses in the military, just because these are the people who are the boots on the ground, handling all the stuff that we talk about every single day.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, there's not a lot of resources for them to go, hey, after you do all that good work, how do you learn to turn off that part of your brain and then take care of yourself?
Right.
That's something that a lot of people struggle with. So that's what we're going to help out with. And we want to get feedback so that we can then take it to the governor. Right.
I'm sorry. I had jokes and I'm just like, Jared, not the time.
Not time.
All right. Not the time. Let's talk about something important.
You know what? Jared heard take care of yourself.
Well,
and there was, I already know. You know what? You don't even gotta.
Do you know where I'm going with this? All right.
I have an idea. I think I've known since I was 13 years old, Jared. What you're talking about. When you hear take care of yourself.
By the way.
All right. Anyway,
just grinding his stump during yard work. That's what he means when he says he needs yard work
grinder, to
blow off steam.
I don't even have grass. I just go out there to get away from the kids. Not just playing. We got turf though.
Anyway,
got that.
It's all coming in due time.
But here's the thing. Now I think so that's church announcements. That's the good stuff. That's the positive. That's what brings a community together. Now we also want to take some time today. We've been seeing a lot of conflict in the community as well. And there was one that hit a little bit close to home that's happened. You want to talk about?
Seriously, it did. I'm gonna keep all names out.
Yeah.
We're all in this community. I mean, everyone knows what's going on. We're not too far from the news, the paper, social media, and pretty much Saturday morning.
Yeah, yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning.
Yeah.
Approximately 12:30. I mean, we lost 2 individuals in our community. When I say lost, just because one's dead and one's behind bars, I feel like the situation is both lost. So, I just, these are young men, 23, 25. I've had the pleasure of cutting both of their hair. They've recorded in the studio.
Yep.
Young guys, got talent, got some ambition, want to do some things. And now, for whatever reason, the situation, whether it was alcohol driven or, conflict of interest, emotions flaring. Today we have a community that's ripped apart and standing on 2 sides.
Yeah.
And then we start with retaliations and negative comments and who started what. And then the hardest part is having a side.
Yeah.
And then there's really no reason to have a side, because as a community, we hold each other's hands.
Yeah.
And we walk with each other. We encourage each other. So I guess the best way to put this is it's just sad.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just sad because, now we have 2 families hurt.
Yep.
We've got individuals who got kids.
Exactly. Well, and yeah. I mean, for those who don't know, like the particulars of the story, and again, leaving names out, there was 2 folks, again, both local artists, both, just members of the community, and they were roommates. right? Apparently, like
I guess just the way it's being written.
Yeah, the way it's being written, they were roommates. They lived together. They got into a bad altercation. They started arguing. It got violent. It escalated. And then one went to get their stuff, and no one knows what happened. There aren't enough details yet to really get, but it ended in one of them losing their life and the other being taken to prison.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's like you said, number one, like we said, you know, there's not enough details, but at the end of the day, nobody wins here. Nobody wins. And this is something that I wish more people understood. You know, as I said, I taught anger management in prison for 5 years. And one of the things that I would really try to get through to the guys is, especially when it comes to altercations, the big thing is they would always say, well, look, if I'm tested or if I'm challenged, I'm not going to walk away.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they'd put it. You know, they'd use much more coarse language, but to use politically correct nomenclature, let's just say they'd say it would be looked at as an act of cowardice,
right? Yeah.
Or they would be looked down upon if they were to walk away from that situation. They have to show who they are. They have to show what they got.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, though, is that there's this great picture. Hopefully I can find it. And it's it's a bird, and a bird pecks a dog, right? And the dog gets angry, and the dog chases the bird to get back at it.
Mm-hmm.
And it chases the bird right off a cliff, right? The bird flies away. The dog goes right off the cliff.
I gotcha.
And the point is that some decisions we make in anger, we can never come back from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what we have to learn is that, you know what? Yeah, that bird pecked me and I'm mad about it, but maybe it's not worth chasing that bird.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe letting it go, letting it go, just letting it fly away and letting it pass is the biggest thing, because this is what I tell the guys in jail. Is I'd say, don't think about it like you're walking away from a fight. Think about it like what you're walking towards.
Right.
So, for instance, if this person's beefing with you and this person's beefing with you, and you both walk towards each other, here's what you're really walking towards. You're walking towards pain. You're walking towards aggression. You're walking towards a potential jail sentence. You're walking towards potential death. You're walking towards, that's what you're walking towards, right? You're walking towards a sentence in jail.
Right.
You're walking towards all this stuff. Now, remember, I was telling this stuff to people who were incarcerated.
Yeah, who are already in jail.
So what I'd say, if you walk away, you are walking towards freedom.
Right.
You're walking towards being able to just open the stuff we take for granted. There was a guy in jail, and you know what he told me? He would say, hey, Mr. D, when you go home tonight, do me a favor. Open your fridge and just look at all the food you have. Choose not to eat something and just go sit on the couch and watch TV. Because that's a list of things that I can't do for the next 15 years. He's like, and when I'm locked up, he's like, that's all I'm thinking of is just how I used to be able to just open the fridge and look at all this food that I could choose from, and then shut the fridge and not eat any of it. Right?
That's how I know I'm not built for jail, because I love food.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Not built for that shit.
That's what I'm saying.
I like your point. Like, I like that point. Like, sometimes you just have to make that decision.
Yeah.
And I think in what was the issue with the youth that is so young.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
Being under the influence of certain things.
Yeah.
It's harder to make those decisions.
Yes.
And then what you're surrounded around, and just everyone's just wanting to be tough and this gangster,
yeah,
and this persona that's truly not who you are.
Yeah,
right.
And then, it doesn't help having alcohol. I'm not saying any of these factors are the reason why.
Right.
But a lot of the times, this is some of the factors.
Yeah.
And then when we narrowed down what the real issue was, we could have had them both here today.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But, the mentorship or leadership currently around that situation probably didn't dictate any of that.
Yeah.
100%.
So now, I guess my biggest concern now is, and it's like it always happens when we losing these individuals. You know what I mean? Just remember this: both sides have lost.
Yeah, 100%.
Both sides.
There's no winner.
So to now have two sides looking at each other, wanting to retaliate or create more of a problem.
Yep.
We have a decision to make right now. Are we going to go off the cliff, or we're going to leave the bird alone?
Yeah.
And now, not only just leave it alone, sit down and figure out for this not to happen again.
Right.
Yeah.
Because what happens is it's very hot right now.
Yeah.
It's super hot.
Yeah.
Emotions
And
still high,
this is probably the hardest time to talk to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Because, hey, well, whatever the factors are, that's why I don't want to get into too much details, other than the fact that we lost 2 individuals in our community.
Exactly.
So now as a community, if we could show up to these events and say we're family and say we love each other, and it's so great to have leaders wanting to see our community thrive. I'm asking to have that same energy now in a situation where that energy is the most needed now because we lost.
Exactly. And the thing is, man, this is the thing too, is that I say this all the time. I was actually talking to my therapist about this. I was like, you know why I like teaching people in prison? Why it's so easy. Everyone's like, oh, is it hard? Are you scared? Is it hard? No. You know why it's easy teaching dudes in prison? Because you don't have to explain to them why what they did has bad consequences.
Right.
You don't have to. They already know. You go to somebody who's like, yeah, I got upset. I got in a bar fight. I ended up doing some stuff that I regret. And now I'm taken away from my entire life and family for 6 years. I don't have to explain to you the consequences of that. You already know. What I get to do is I get to teach you changes to your mindset that help you not make that decision again. The hard people to talk to are the free people. Because the free people want to argue with you. You say, hey, you know, we really should choose peace instead of violence in every situation. And then as people going, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about, right? But then I'll tell you what, you go to somewhere that's been torn apart by war. You go to somewhere where people have died and somebody says, you know what? I wish there was a way to just have chosen peace. Every one of them goes, yeah. Like there's not, that's the problem though, is that it shouldn't, my hope is that people can hear stories like this and then go, all right, it shouldn't have to get to that point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that kind of goes into what we wanted to talk about, moving into like local news. I mean, national news. There's so much beefing going on and with all sorts of stuff. Everybody seems to be beefing with one another over, this kind of thing.
And have everything.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think this is systematic in the problem. I think this problem that we're seeing in a rise in violence in our kids, in a rise in violence in our community, in a rise in violence nationally, I think all of it is interconnected. I really do. And I'll explain why, but let's talk about some of these specifics.
Well,
go ahead.
Just to stay right here for a second. And we always dedicate a part of the show to the youth. So
yes.
In a dedication to this and remembrance and just a moment of silence as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we've had such a good little movement where it's not like happening all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So what I'm encouraging now, if you're watching the cast, the youth, you have access to so many great leaders, people in this community that want to see you win, that want to help you out.
Yeah.
And I know it's easier said than done because you're like, how are they going to do that? A conversation goes a long way.
Reach out.
Being around your environment in a different way helps out.
Yeah.
Gives you that motivation. I mean, I helped this young man. He was sitting in my chair. I cut him a Sunday morning after I got back from Hawaii. And I was just feeding him, just giving his mindset a whole different way and perspective of looking at things. And he sits there and he's like, man, no one's ever talked to me like this.
Right.
No one's ever made me feel like the way you just did. And then I could go look at the text right now. And it was just amazing getting a text the other day from him like, hey, man, things are going good in school. I totally appreciate that conversation we had. I feel so much better about moving forward. I got all these great things going on now.
Yes.
And honestly, all it was just him sitting there in the haircut, listening, and I really cared about sharing this with him. And it sat with him. And now he's moving and had the decency to hit me up.
Yeah.
Just because he feels good about himself. Like, hey, Andrew, all that stuff we talked about, I'm doing great now. I'm doing good in his classes. I'm doing this. And that made me feel good because I'm like, good. We got through.
See, that's
that's a small effort. I mean, as small as that is, that's what I'm saying.
The conversation. Yeah.
Reach out. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And the better part of this finale of this conversation right here is I'm encouraging everybody. I know everybody's mad right now. Everybody's mad. But how much more upset do you want to be?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So how do we resolve everyone's tension, anger to peace somehow? And I know it's the hardest thing to ask for right now. But really think about that.
100%. Because like the thing that got my mind moving, this is on national news, right? Is to that point, I feel like after COVID, and look, the whole world went through a traumatic experience together, right? But what it did is it isolated us, and we had to isolate for safety, right? Everyone, so we don't spread stuff around. But all of a sudden, everybody's jobs moved online. Everybody realized they can do their jobs from their computers, right? Most people. Then all of a sudden, a lot of people left their jobs, started doing stuff on their computers, started making more money at home. And then it got to a point where you don't need to leave the house. You don't need to leave the house for nothing. Like you can call to get your groceries sent to you. You can call to get your food sent to you, DoorDash. You can like stay at home, rent all your movies. Like you literally do not have to leave for any reason, right? And I'm one of these people. There are days my kids joke around and say my pajamas are they're like, oh, dad's in his work outfit.
Same.
He's in his work clothes.
They give me shit at school drop-offs. It's like, you always in sweatpants. I'm like, because I don't go anywhere.
Exactly. I can stay here. But here's the thing though, is that here's the problem that's creating, and it's creating a huge problem. The big thing that has created and is creating is we are losing our sense of community.
Yep.
In that we are losing our ability to interact with other people. And it doesn't help that when you're online and when you're on social media, there is an algorithm, and that algorithm is run by AI. And that AI algorithm is looking at what you already look at and giving you more of it. It's literally going, all right, this is what makes you mad. Here's all the stuff that makes you mad. This is what you believe. These are your opinions. Here's all this stuff that validates your opinions. You get to make your own world. And then
it's an echo chamber.
It's an echo chamber. And then if anybody disagrees with you at any time, I can just block you. So now what happens is you have these people in their home creating their only outlet to the outside world is a catered view of their own personality, their own bias. And at first, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like everyone thinks that if the world was the way they wished it was, it'd be better. But the real problem is that when we go out into the community, and we have to meet someone with a different perspective or a different point of view, or somebody that doesn't walk the same way we walk, someone that doesn't drive the same way we drive, somebody that doesn't have the same central nervous system as us, so they don't problem solve the same way we do, someone who has a different opinion on anything. It's not even that we're unable to have a conversation about it. We can't handle it because in real life, you can't block people. In real life, you can't go, oh, you know what? I don't like, Jared, I don't like your one opinion on something. Boop, you're disappeared forever. You can't do that in person.
Or now we've gotten to the point where any kind of disagreement is viewed as disrespect, and I think that's the part that drives me crazy. And I don't know if I told the story, but I have a one of my coworkers, she lives in Illinois. She lives in rural Illinois, like middle of nowhere, right? So, but you know who makes all the decisions for her little town? Chicago, right?
Right.
So we're on a call one day, we're talking about something, she gets news and she just blurts out, like kind of under her breath, she's like, oh my God, I hate Democrats, right? She says that. And I go, what's going on? You know? And she knows it, because I have no problem talking about politics with anybody. So she knows that I most likely vote Democratic.
Right.
So, and she goes, I did not mean that towards you. I was like, no, why don't you tell me, what's going on? No big deal. So basically, in her little rural area, she everything that supplies her house for like heat and things like that is run off propane, right?
Right.
in Chicago, they don't need propane. Propane's not a big deal. So they proposed a price increase for propane, I think. And I might be messing this up. This was a few years ago, but Chicago voted on that increase of propane. And that had a huge effect on her lifestyle.
Right.
You know, in big cities, they're like, oh, okay, so now my barbecue pit, my propane pit, you know,
right,
it went from $17 to $18, whatever, you know. But for somebody who supplies their whole house off propane, that's a big hit.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
Shit, you know.
Yeah.
So she explained her situation, and all I could say was, I get it. I think, you know, we all build our opinions, whether we're Republican, Democrat, whatever it is. There was a reason that pulled us to that situation. And if we can get back to just talking about it, you know?
Exactly. And also, you make a great point, because look, the world is multifaceted.
Absolutely.
There are literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of issues that people deal with every day. And to choose one, like this propane. Okay, in my house, this propane thing is a problem. But then to say, blanket statement, I hate all X, Y, and Z
because of
over this one little thing. Because here's a problem, is that somebody who is on that side, they chose that thing for something that has nothing to do with propane.
Exactly.
So like, you know, they're like, oh, well, I do it because, you know, like, my child is this, and so I advocate for my child, and apparently the only ones who advocate for my child is on this side.
Right.
And so then you have like these people warring over, they're playing different games.
Not even on the same subject. Not even on the same page.
It's not even, so for us to be able to like get rid of labels, and I really mean this, get rid of all labels, not know if somebody is left, right, what economic status they prefer, whatever, and be able to just talk about single issues and be like, this is this is where I'm at, and mix it around and blend it around and all this. All of a sudden, you're creating a culture of conversation where stuff gets done. When you create the culture we've created, what we are in is a culture of digital tribalism.
That's
to where everybody's got their own tribe. And the problem is they spend more time demonizing the other tribe. And the issue with demonizing is, it's so funny. I got a friend, and this is the WyOriginal Podcast, right? I got a friend who grew up here, right? But the thing is, and I love him to death, but he's like, I'll just say, of a certain race and of a certain religion. And he's since moved away, but based on what he sees in the news about, like, I'll just say conservative people, based on the news he watches, he honestly thinks that if he comes back to Cheyenne, he's going to get like beaten in the streets and drugged through the streets because of his race and religion.
See,
right? Now, here's the thing. We all know being here, that's not going to happen at all. Like, there's no way that's going to happen, right? But based on the news he's watching, based what the algorithm's telling him, based off of what he's getting, he's like, I would never step foot back there because I would be eaten alive in the streets. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing vice versa, though. There are people in Cheyenne who are, you know, we'll say super conservative or something, and they'll look at, you know, they'd say something like, you know, I lived in LA for 10 years, and they'd go, I would never go to LA because if I went there, X, Y, and Z would happen. And there's such a problem with this. And, and I'm sitting there going like, that was my favorite. When I lived in LA, my favorite thing to do was I never watched the news. I just knew what the news was saying about LA based on people calling me and go, I'd be on the beach. I'd be on the beach.
Like, Tom, are you okay?
And I'd get this call. They'd be like, are you safe? And I'm like,
I was like,
I'm on a beach right now, chilling. Right. Like, whoa, what are you? But there's an active shooter in Los Angeles. I'm like, Los Angeles is 30 cities.
Right.
It's 75 miles long. Like, there's 8 million people here. Like, if there's an active shooter in the mall in I don't know, like San Bernardino, that's 40 miles away from me, and there's about 7 million people between us. I'm actually having a wonderful day, you know, but you don't know that because what this is telling you,
what you only see, and I always try to explain this to people, you're only going to see the worst. And I, even to the point that I stopped watching like news articles around my kids, or like watching videos, because they only going to show you the worst of whatever, you know? Like, even, and you know, so I had a conversation with a guy, you know, and he basically had created his whole profile of how he felt about black people just from the news, right? And he's explaining this to me, you know. So he's explaining to me why he thinks that I'm different than most black people. I was like, actually, most black people are exactly like me, but you're only seeing, because he's looking at like the looting in LA,
right?
Or the BLM riots. I'm like, actually, most people are pretty chill, man. Dude, you can't base your assumption off of what you see on the news.
Yeah, and that's the exact thing, man. Is that the issue is that's the news that's being fed to him.
Right, of course, right.
And then when he's able to go by himself and only surround himself with people who have those same views,
right,
it feels good to him because he's got a sense of community and his opinions are validated and everybody's happy. But here's the thing, is that when he goes out into the world and interacts with other people, one, he's going into the world with this kind of bias and hatred already. So now people got the deck stacked against them no matter what. Then when you interact, you start realizing like, oh, these are just people, and I have absolutely nothing. One of my favorite stories, this is a true story. It was like an old story from the 90s. I think it was on Oprah.
Good old Oprah.
But I loved it. It was a guy who was a member of the KKK. And he was a lifelong member of the KKK.
Yeah.
Lifelong member of the KKK, lifelong member, and he really believed. He believed whites are the pure race.
Yeah.
He believed that everyone else was dangerous and violent or whatever. And then his daughter went off when she was a teenager, got pregnant by a black dude.
Yeah.
Right. And so now his grandchildren are black and he disowned her.
Yeah.
But then when they finally reconciled and came into her life, said, the kids were babies and they ran up to him and they were like, Grandpa, and they were just giving him kisses. And he realized, wait a minute, these kids have absolutely zero sense of, one, what the world is like.
Mm-hmm.
Two, the fact that just because they have a different skin color than their grandpa doesn't mean he's any less of their grandpa or that he loves them any less. And so he realized, oh my gosh, like this is my family and I love them, and skin color has nothing to do with any of it. And he denounced the KKK, and now he makes a living going around trying to talk people out of racism or bigotry or any of that. And it's like, and that's the thing, man. It's like there really is way more that brings us together, that unifies us as human beings than tears us apart. But here's the biggest problem, though. Is with going back to the algorithm, looking at what we do, right? We do this show. We do a podcast where we put it out on the internet and we hope lots of people see it.
Facts.
The biggest video I ever had, the most successful video as far as views, I took down immediately, 100% immediately. And it was because
is this one? Okay, go ahead.
It was the one where I made a joke about Kanye West saying anti-Semitic stuff.
Okay.
Right. So I made some joke, and the thing was I who cares what it was, but it was me as a Jewish person making a joke about Kanye West. Right. Now, here's what I found out. When you take classes on how to get a viral course or how to make a viral podcast or a YouTube channel, the thing everyone I've ever taken says is the best way to do it is have a title that invokes fear or anger. Because if people see a title that scares them, it hijacks your psychology and you can't not think about it. So you got to click. Wait, what? I was telling you before, this one of my favorite podcasters I had to unsubscribe to him. I loved him. He used to just talk about, like, he hasn't had really successful people talking about what success was. Every single thing now is like, the future's about to get crazy. You better do this now or everything's going to fall apart. Be prepared now. And it's like, and then you're like, what? And like my favorite one is it said, is a civil war about to happen? And I clicked on, I'm like, wait, what? And then this expert is like, most likely no. And you're like, oh, thanks for making me fucking like horrifying me for a bit until I had to listen to that.
I guess what I'm liking, from everything you all saying, you know what I mean? You included too, Jared, about this whole situation, because we're pretty much getting to the end of just why, like, we want you to understand. Really want you to understand this. The things of our world give us our decisions to make right away. Because it helps us out.
Right.
This is the way we got to feel about it. This is the way we're going to handle it. So in closing to this topic, I feel.
Yeah.
Honestly, is I think what we need to do is really look at both sides of the situation.
Always.
Yes.
Really care about one, the fact that hey, we have to live as neighbors.
Yeah.
Right.
This is our community. One situation can continue to dictate why we don't stop or we keep going.
Yeah.
100%.
So now, my condolences, my prayers to the families.
Yes.
But the bigger prayer is for our community to help respond to help this situation mend. Like,
Yes.
Like seriously, because all these things we're talking about is what eradicates our like whole decision. Like
exactly, and that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Is that the reason I took that video down was because the other thing they teach you is that if people argue in the comments, your video's more likely to go viral.
Yeah.
And look, already in the comments, the details.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There is no real details.
Exactly.
People are already getting irate.
But that's the thing. And so I just want people to be aware. Moving on from this, but to bring it back, is that what I want people to be aware of is, number one, the algorithm. First of all, people are making stuff to scare you on purpose because they're fighting for your attention. Number two, so that automatically makes us horrified. Number two, the algorithm wants conflict so that the more you argue, the more successful something is. And what that means is it's literally putting us against each other. And I say this before, but I say this all the time. A core in my teaching, a core acting thing that I learned that's the best conflict resolution I've ever heard is that you have discussion, argument, fight. And anytime there's a conflict, you have three options. You can have a discussion, you can have an argument, you can have a fight. And the difference is, with a discussion, it's I believe something different from you, right? And what you had with your coworker about the whole thing with propane, you had a discussion where you go, all right, I believe something different than you, but
tell me
I just want to hear you out.
Yeah.
I just want to listen to you so I can learn your point of view. That doesn't mean I have to be converted.
Right.
That doesn't mean I have to take on your belief. I just want to hear why you believe it.
And her point made sense.
And then that's a discussion. An argument.
Still talking, though.
Yeah,
exactly. It's great. That's what we want. It's good. We're learning from one another. But then the next one is an argument, which is what we normally do, is where we start, which is, oh, you believe something different than me?
Right.
Tell me why so I can tell you why you're wrong and I'm right.
Listening to argue,
and
not even to understand.
And that's what our culture feeds off. That's what the algorithm feeds off. But what it leads to is it leads to a fight. And what a fight is I want to destroy you, right? And what we're seeing with this thing that happened in our community is we're literally seeing the apex of what happens when you are in a fight. That is the outcome. One person, literally, their life is gone and they got destroyed. And the other person's life is now on hold while they're behind bars for all this time. And it's like, good job. That's the ultimate end goal of what happens in this situation. It's also the end goal of what's going to happen in our society if we keep going in this direction of let's destroy each other. Let's tear each other down. Let's overcome, because I hate the way you think. I hate the way you believe. I disagree with you. So let's fight. And the whole thing is, united we stand, divided we fall.
Yeah.
If you have a country that's literally trying to destroy itself, how do you expect?
See, I don't think we're all, and most of the arguments that I've seen in this country, in this community, in this world, is everybody has an idea of how to make their country, the community, their city, their town better,
right?
But they all have a different way of getting there, and it always takes me back to Thanos, and I'm a huge Marvel fan, Marvel fan, but Thanos, at the end of the day, he really wasn't a villain. He saw, if you don't know, that Thanos saw that there wasn't enough resources in the world. He said, and we had outgrown the resources. Too many people, not enough resources. His idea, and I think everybody on the Avengers agreed with that. Everybody would agree. Like, if you have infinite amount of resources and you have way too many people, that's not a good thing.
Exactly.
It was his solution that they had a problem with.
Right.
His solution was, I'm gonna kill half the people in the universe.
So,
not. So I guess,
hey, we have too many people. Agreed. Hey, we don't have enough resources. Agreed. I think we should fix it. Yeah, we should. How about we kill half everybody?
Whoa.
Wait, hold on.
Back up a bit now.
Yeah, let's go. Let's just.
I think that's, so that brings me
That's
to
the extreme.
Yeah, that brings me to, like, most of the disagreements we have, and not saying that that's what they were disagreeing on, but it's because you have an idea. When it comes down to politics and community, we all have we all three might have a reason to say, hey, I think we should do this, we should do this, we should do that.
We do it all the time.
Exactly.
We all want something good for our community. We just all may have like a different way to get there. That don't mean we hate each other.
Exactly. Well, and then the reason that brought this up, just to move on to more local stuff, before we were on there, Jared and we were talking about this whole thing going on with like Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
right.
That's
and so if you haven't seen, it's like Candace Owens, did she get fired from somewhere? Or
so she she was basically a political pundit. She had very aggressive opinions, whether you agree with them or not. But I think the problem was she was very firm in her beliefs, right? So for most news stations, they were like, yeah, we can't put you on.
You're too radical this way or that way.
Right. So Ben Shapiro, who's very radical himself, Ben Shapiro did something which if you, and I don't care if I agree with you or not, if you have something you want to say, do what Ben Shapiro did. You start your own network.
Exactly, and that's what he did. He started his own
network, but then he brings on another thorn. He brings on Candace Owens and say what you want to say, girlfriend. You do what you want to do. Until he didn't like what she said.
Yeah, and then she said something he didn't like, and now it's and this is happening everywhere. It's not just that. The same thing happened with Don Lemon. Don Lemon said something CNN didn't like, got fired. So Elon Musk has been saying X is formerly Twitter. That's the worldwide town square.
Free speech.
Anyone can come, free speech. And he keeps saying, I might not agree with what you have to say, but I'll fight for your right to say it. So then he invites Don Lemon, says, I'll do a show with you. And the first interview is Elon Musk. And then he asks Elon Musk, hey, so since you've had that, hate speech has gone up on the platform a lot. And so we're wondering, do you take any accountability for that? And he goes, you know what? I don't have to answer that question. I don't like that you even asked it. I didn't even have to do this interview. Also, you're fired.
You're fired. Yeah.
And so,
wow.
So
there you go for being real.
Yeah.
And realer.
And so here's the thing is that here's really what it is. Everybody's touting free speech nowadays. Everybody's going, I have free speech. I have the right to say what I want. And if you censor my speech, you're censoring free speech, right? Okay, until somebody says something you don't like, and then you go, well, I don't like you. You're fired. You're blocked. You're cut off. You're this. You're that. What everyone's really saying is, I want to say whatever I want.
Right.
I don't care how it affects other people. And anytime somebody says, hey, that affects other people, I say, I don't care until it affects me.
Right.
And then when it affects me, you're gone and I'm silencing you.
But understand, and I've never lost sight of this, free speech just means you're free from legality. You can say whatever you want. The government's not going to come arrest you and put you in a jail because you like Biden or you like Trump or you said this about that.
Right.
That does not mean you're going to be free from consequences.
Yes, exactly. Look, I have the freedom to say some horrible stuff to my wife in anger.
Yeah.
I have the freedom to do that.
Right.
But any married man will tell you that's not going to come without consequences.
Facts.
Of life.
So is your wife not advocating for free speech?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's stupid.
Now my wife has the freedom to tear into me.
I was just going to say that.
Verbally.
You've just given her the extra freedom.
Yeah.
See, this is the freedom we don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I just want to be free.
Yeah, what we want.
Just take the DOM out of it.
What we want is to be able to say what's ever on our mind and then not worry about what's going on with others.
That's not how that shit works.
That ain't how that works.
I dare you.
That's why when you're in your car, you say the most foul thing you've ever said in your life because the actual person isn't there in front of you.
Right.
You don't have to deal with the consequences. I've heard people say things, like, you mother, I hope you die, you son of a, right? If they were right next to that person and then said it to their face like that, there's no way that there's not going to be consequences to it. And so that's the thing is that, again, just going back to the point where we keep talking about on this podcast, because we're not interested in having discussions right now in our society.
I was about to say, you're going right back to that conversation.
Right back.
Exactly.
Argument.
Yeah, argument or fight.
And that's what freedom is.
And that's what we want. What we want is because we're all alone in our underwear on our computer all day long, Jared. No.
I wear pants.
Yeah.
I put on pants.
But because we're all alone, we're looking at all these people. We're looking at all these people going, oh, this is what's wrong with the world. And these are the people to blame. And I hate them. And I'm mad. And I want to say whatever I want to say against them. But what I don't want is any opinions that are contrary to mine and anybody that challenges me in any way, and if anyone doesn't like what they have to say, they're a baby. But when I don't like what you have to say, it's because I'm standing my ground.
Exactly.
Well, this is what we want. We want you to like, share, subscribe because WyOriginal wants to be here for you.
No, we want you to argue so that this goes viral.
And we're changing our name from WyOriginal to the Stump Grinders so we can invoke fear.
That's right. Like and subscriber will grind your stumps, Wyoming.
Right. Yeah. So like, share, subscribe, and keep telling us how you feel because we are with our freedom with you.
Yeah. And that's, we could go on and on and on and on. I know we're running late and everything. We want to wrap it up, but I think it feels good to get this out, talking about catharsis and everything. Because I know I've been angry. I've been pent up.
That's why Kendrick went crazy.
You know what's funny?
That's exactly what happened. Freedom of fucking speech.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody's on top of the world. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to change the course.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to disrupt it a little bit.
And look, guys, like, here's the thing. I would say that it's abnormal to not be angry right now.
I'm angry right now.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
dead ass.
Yes,
I'm angry right now.
Right, in this moment.
In this moment.
In this
but
second.
I'm having this conversation with you.
Right.
Not arguing.
Yeah.
Conversating with you, even though I can't hear you. I can see some comments. But in the moment, I'm kind of a little frustrated and angry.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna say I've decided I'm gonna stop saying this whole thing of like the world's crazy right now. The world's crazy right now. It's like, look, there are parts of the world that are crazy right now. There are parts of the world that are absolutely wonderful right now. There are, you got to go outside and check that out. You know what I'm saying? Like every time, at least in Cheyenne, because we're the WyOriginal Podcast. Whenever I hear somebody in Wyoming say, or Cheyenne say, man, the world's crazy right now, I'm like, go for a walk. Go for a walk in the park and you tell me how crazy. But that doesn't change about the crazy things happen, like what happened in our community, like some of the wars popping off in the world. But here's my point. Right now, and just in life, it's natural to be angry. It's natural to be scared. It's natural to be confused.
And it's okay.
It's natural to be frustrated. Yeah. And that's what, going back to what I used to teach the guys in prison, that's why it's called anger management,
right?
And not anger disintegration, not anger disappearing. I'm not here to teach you how to never be angry again. You want to, this is really messed up. It's like, you want to never be angry again, go into a coma. That's going to be about the only way to never be angry.
I don't know. Are you subconsciously like, maybe
no one knows.
You're in a coma.
Maybe you're in a coma and you're just like, these fucking people. Yeah. Like, this about me. But my point is, it's so natural and part of being a human being to be upset and be angry. But the point of anger management, I'll use this analogy. You got to think about it like nuclear energy, right? When you're angry, that can either be a catastrophic thing that could destroy so much in your life, like we've seen in the community, or it can be fuel.
Yeah.
Right? It can be fuel to power things like nuclear powered submarines or nuclear powered whatever. That's amazing. You can use that energy in a way to go, all right, you know what? I am mad, but I'm not mad at a person. I'm mad at the consequences happening in society.
Right.
I'm not mad at an individual. I'm mad at the fact that my prices are going up because of propane. Right. And I want to figure this out, and then we as a community, as a nation, as a world can come together and start raging against problems rather than raging against people.
Man,
that's so good. But I'll tell you, man, a good friend of mine, I was going through some things, anger, frustration. He said, Angel, you know what you do in situations like that? You rage.
Yes.
You
Yes.
rage. And I'm listening. I'm like, mother guy hits me. He's like, don't let him see you sweat. Like all this like constructive criticism. You get this from the people that love you, and you wonder, man, why are they telling me? Like this is good information. And sometimes the other side could always feel like, well, man, I hope he takes that well. I hope he don't take it the wrong way because he's gonna rage against me.
Exactly.
He's gonna start showing me his sweat.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but
yes.
the point is, we have to start learning how to want to manage.
Yeah.
We have to want to manage because the only way we're gonna be successful
Yep.
is to manage
100%
ourselves. We're the CEOs of our life.
Yeah,
That's
gotta
right.
find a way. Gotta find a way.
right.
We are the CEOs of our life. Thank you, God, for the blessings that we have daily.
It's like my favorite band ever, Rage Against the Machine, said, your anger is a gift.
That's it.
Your anger is a gift. But the thing is here's the thing. If you hold anger inside of you and don't get it out in any way, it becomes resentment. Right? If you get your anger out in a way that hurts yourself or others, then you're a problem to society. Right?
Facts.
But if you use that anger, man, like look at Dr. King, look at Malcolm X, look at Gandhi, anybody who's made a huge difference in the world. They weren't not angry. They were very angry. They were angry about what's going on.
They just addressed it a different way.
That's right. They did a thing that said, hey, are you mad about this? Let's all come together because we are so much more powerful in groups. We are so much more powerful as people, right? As a community together, we are so much more powerful than we are just on our own, isolated and alone.
And you can make decisions as a community when you guys meet up and we talk. So again, April 10th, this drug panel that they're putting together, just to track back on that, I have no clue what they're going to discuss, what resolutions they're going to discuss, but how you will find out if you go, you
Just
work
go.
your opinion, you figure it out. Maybe there's an answer out there we can quickly figure out, but go into it open-minded. Don't just go in there with like, nope, drugs are bad. No shit.
Yeah.
We know. No shit.
I guarantee you, everybody, not just on this panel and our community, everybody got things they can work on. Everybody has ideas and things to share to help things come together.
That's right.
That's it.
So I'm gonna work on a lot of things too.
Same.
After leaving this part, I feel a little more enlightened.
Same.
I want our community to feel strengthened.
Yeah.
We're weak right now a little bit because of a situation.
But we can be us. We
But
can get back to us.
that doesn't mean we need to stay that way.
That's right. And I'm going to tell you this.
This is why we need to come together to help.
Because I get all of my philosophical information from memes on the internet.
Smart.
My wife.
This guy.
Algorithm.
Poor Sheree. I feel
my-
bad for Sheree. I swear, every time we do a podcast, I leave here being like, damn, that girl. Poor Sheree.
She's going to love you for that. She's going to bake you cookies for saying that.
I like chocolate chips.
But she
Speaking
goes like
about
this.
cooking, I'll wait till you finish.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about this. We'll end on a good note with this.
All right.
But no. She sent me this thing. And of course, I did what I did and Googled it, made sure it was true. And it is. You know what's the craziest thing? Pearls. Pearls. Beautiful pearls.
Yeah.
Facts.
Pearls are created by pain.
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So I'm gonna get this one. I always get this one. It's an oyster.
It's an oyster.
An oyster.
Yeah.
Right. And so what happens is if an oyster has never been through like pain and hardship, it will not produce pearls.
Right.
A pearl. And I'm gonna get this wrong, but essentially it's something about like it's like when sand gets in there, right? And what that does is because the pearls, the oyster's a living thing. The sand irritates it. It hurts it. It's irritating and it causes pain. And so what happens is its body builds up this pearl as like a way to protect and defend.
Right. It coats the piece of sand so it can't irritate it anymore. And that's how it forms the pearl.
So the point is that pearls are formed from being irritated, right? And then and going through pain,
right?
And then developing a way to overcome that.
Yeah.
Right? That's what a pearl is. And so that's when you start talking about things like pearls of knowledge, pearls of wisdom. Jesus said, don't cast your pearls before swine.
Yeah.
Like right now, when we're experiencing a time right now of great agitation, of great irritation, of great pain in so many ways, if we do this right and if we come through it together, there can be a lot of pearls.
That's right.
That come from this.
And you know who wears pearls?
You know
Nikki
what?
Haley. I'm just playing.
No.
Jokes. Do not.
I'm gonna be that oyster and start giving Maureen pearls.
Yeah. What you gonna say about
That's
food,
what I'm
though?
gonna. Well, no, hold on. I'm gonna, because you get irritated.
Yeah.
I'm
still working on being a better husband.
We all
father,
are.
business owner.
Yeah.
Like all these hats you wear.
Yeah.
And it's because you're blessed by God. One.
Yeah.
You have this ability to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like time management.
Yeah.
Emotional management, everything, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get a lot of pearls out of this situation for Maureen.
That's the
I
thing.
like it.
That's the thing.
That's how I feel. So
That's good. I like this.
to my wife, these things we go through, these irritating moments, these struggles, being able to celebrate 15 years of marriage, breaking a broken curse in our generation.
Yes.
I'm gonna continue to endure this irritation, this pain.
Yes.
So I could keep giving you pearls.
I like it.
Love it.
No, seriously. And then she's gonna give us some food on Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
For Good Friday.
For Good Friday, there's gonna
thank
be
you
a
to
feast.
my wife Maureen. She's
I'm being
very
first.
good
I'm
in the
being lying.
kitchen. And I'm very thankful
Where we doing
to
this at?
enjoy it.
Because this is my first time hearing this. And I
I
kind
mean,
of
honestly, once she
out.
starts the
I only know-
episode of the pots and pans going crazy in the kitchen,
I'll be there.
it's spring, right?
Yeah.
Summer. So
yeah.
it's gonna be Good Friday. Happy shout outs to Spring Break for all the youth. Enjoy
be there.
yourselves, do good things.
That's right.
But Maureen wants to bless the shop on Good Friday with a nice meal. I
I'll
mean,
be here.
customers even have a good opportunity. It's
Nah.
it's there till it runs out.
It's gonna be.
We're gonna shout out my barber Jace, my barber Daisy's birthday next week.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be a good way to celebrate that as well. But shout out to my wife. She's gonna put some good recipes together to start feeding the shop again throughout the summertime. She likes to do that.
I'll be here.
It's a pleasure to have you do that. So thank you very much.
Love it.
So me enduring all this irritation and all this pain to give you pearls. Thank you for giving us a meal.
Absolutely.
Love it. I'm good, guys. I gotta go aerate my yard. So
Yeah.
I'm glad my
He's gotta
season's
go
done.
do yard
I'm
work.
going to get some fertilizer.
He's gotta go do
It's gonna
yard work.
snow.
And if you paid attention, you know what yard work means to Jerry.
Exactly.
You know what that's a euphemism for. So he's got to go get some yard
Duh.
work done.
that gotta be the name of the podcast. Stump grinding and pearls.
Stump grinding and pearls.
That's it.
That's a good rock band.
That's
Bob,
good.
hey,
Good
That's
rock.
a good metal name, man.
Pearl Stump Grinders. Nah, I don't
Stump-
know.
No.
We'll figure it out.
Stump
Stump
grinders and
and
pearls.
pearls.
I like it.
I love
like
that,
that.
dude.
And we did it
That's
all in
it.
just an hour and 20 minutes.
We
of
did
coming
it.
together for, once again, our community.
That's
WyOriginal, the voice of the state. Like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe.
That's it.
I'm good.
All right, y'all.
Love you.
See y'all next time. Good one, guys.
Stump grinders.
I like that.
What? We always come back.
That's what I'm saying. It's funny how this worked out. You're like, man, I don't even know if I should be this.
It was like, what are we gonna talk about?
Yeah,